Okay, so this is Khorne with the metal backpack, and I'm going to be taking this off and customizing the backpack, basically getting rid of this completely, taking an old school Khorne backpack, and adding on wings. And they will remain pink on here with little glittery sparkles on it, because that's awesome.
Because it is.
Yep, so basically I'm just taking the mold lines off now, using a little razor blade. Might cut a finger off.
There you go.
That was actually not caused by this, that was caused by my trunk on my car.
For the blood god.
Yeah. So this is again the backpack for Khorne right here. Lots of mold lines on here, lots of little dimple points where it came off the contact sheet, but here we go. Pretty nice on here. And then I'll take sandpaper to it when we get done with this and kind of get the whole thing cleaned up a little bit more.
And you might think I'm a professional cameraman because this thing's not jiggling a lot. I'm doing pretty good. Oh, there's his beard. You see his beard? Oh, now you can't see it. The identity might be broken.
Nobody knows who I am.
You just get a beard shot, that's all you guys get. Oh, can't see the lips. Nope. There it is.
Alright, here we go. So you can see on this side has been demold lined. This side has not yet. You can see the difference though. I don't know, can you
That's good, you can see it from the camera.
Yeah.
The left side, you know, there's nothing on the left side anymore.
Yeah.
PlayStation 3, not a 4, because they put out a 3 bundle.
So it doesn't take too long to do something like this. I mean, really, you know, I kind of just start working on it and just kind of work until I don't see any more lines on it here. So it doesn't usually take more than just a couple of minutes though for, you know, a piece this big like the backpack.
Any kind of knife will work too, basically. Just make sure you cut away from yourself, you know, Cub Scouts honor.
Yeah. Like I do this little rolling thing like this, so it's kind of, that's all I have to do really, because as long as you got a sharp blade here, I mean, it'll cut right through most anything on it.
Don't use a butter knife because that won't work.
No.
I tried.
No.
Okay, I haven't tried, but you know.
And of course, this is basically like almost like vinyl, like just like a thick vinyl kind of plastic.
It is. This is true.
Not very hard to cut through at all. Now, if you have a dull blade, you might have a bad time, but something like this doesn't take long at all. And see, there's a piece right there. I didn't even notice it till now. This is actually from the mold itself that somehow magically got to stay on here. But now that I've noticed it, it's gone.
Who all asked you to do this? Was that just on the mini wargamer thing?
Yeah, and I've had some other people too. Alright, so yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the mold lines. So basically what I've done, I went ahead and I cut off the little side things, little vents off the backpack, and I drilled a hole through with the small drill. I drilled a small hole into each wing, and so I'm basically going to be pegging it together. Now I will be adding on some putty on here in a minute to make
wings
sure.
Are saying pink, by the way. That's what,
yes.
That's what Khorne likes. Khorne likes pink wings.
Exactly. With sparkly glitter.
Yep.
Has to be there. It's required. But basically, I'm gonna put on some of the putty to kind of mold the whole thing together and make it all stay as one big piece. And that's pretty much it for now. We'll see it again in a few minutes. What I'm doing here is I'm just putting a little P3. I mixed it up, and I am draping it over the sides here. And this is the process that I'm going to use to actually mold the whole thing together. Now, some of the super glue is still a little bit wet, but that's okay because it'll actually adhere directly to the P3. And my tool of choice,
Toothpicks.
super cheap, doesn't cost you a lot. And I don't know if you can really see what I do here. This is scoring, which is basically the same thing that you would do if you were using clay, except that in this case, this material will actually bond and dry. The super glue actually helps it dry a little bit faster too. Makes it a little harder, which works better in this case. So what I do first is I go through and I score the whole thing together. That way, it'll all kind of be one pretty much consistent piece. And then once I get done with that, I'll go through and I'll put the detail on the feathers and the bonding piece, and I'll make it look like it's all one big part. So we'll continue this in just a minute.
There you go.
Alright, so what I'm doing here, I've used a toothpick to kind of get preliminary stuff for these back feathers, because you're really not going to see those. And the detail on them is really small anyway. On the front though, because you do want to be able to see the feathers, I'm going to use the tip of the blade here, and I'm making these nice kind of little triangular shaped areas on here. I don't know how well you can see it on here with the camera, but you start at the front and then you add some little lines like this so it looks like feathers. You start at the front and then you just kind of make a few like that, a few like that, and you put the one in the middle last. That way it brings the whole thing together, looks like a solid feather.
Turn around for it. You can turn around a little bit.
Yeah.
There you go. So your adoring fans can see what you're doing.
There we go. Another feather there. And we're going to put a nice little feather right down over here. And that'll just be our little secret. I'm going to edit your voice out so people can't tell can't hear these horrible things you said. I just got to learn how to use this thing. Alright, see. Can you see that?
That is oh shit out of you.
So I'm going to blend it together a little bit more. Because you know most birds on their back, like where the crest is at, they have those slightly larger feathers that kind of poof out more instead of being slicked back. I don't remember what they're called. I don't remember my bird anatomy that much. But I know that they're there. I've seen them on birds before.
I have bird watched for 6 hours before.
I don't know anything about birds, but I know that they're there. I should probably know more about birds. I'll learn more about birds just so I can talk about them in my next video.
Wow, this is what the feathers call, by the way, guys. Just don't look at
these are the downy feathers, like the fluffy down covering the flight control feathers. Yeah, this is like the aft rudder feather. I don't know.
This is where the laser guidance system goes. That's where missiles come from, because every pigeon has missiles on it.
Yes, it's a secret. They don't like you to know about that.
But that poop on your car is actually a bomb.
That's why the carrier pigeon was driven extinct. A lot of people don't know that. Little known fact. Carrier pigeons had a higher yield tactical weapon built into them. So, you know, when the early man discovered this, they realized, you know, we had to take them out. Otherwise, man.
Yeah, otherwise the birds would take over the planet. And then pterodactyls would come back. And that's like a 40-foot wingspan.
Yeah, what are you going to do with the pterodactyl, you know? I mean, yeah, they're like light as hell, and you could probably, you know, kick it with your foot and it'd die, but still.
They got a giant beak on it.
Yeah, it could rough you up. Yeah, it could rough you up pretty hard.
Little known fact, YouTube, that the pterodactyls will kill you, so beware.
Well, yeah, seriously, like eagles take children and stuff. So
no, like,
yeah.
I will just like my what is it that the claw grip on it? It's like 600 pounds of pressure. Like I will kill you.
All right, so look, I'm doing some light scoring right now. Just kind of doing a little light scoring to give you the illusion of there being more texture than there actually is up here. Because for the top part, you know, you can see the top of the wings pretty smooth too, and I'll sand this down a little bit to make it look even smoother. But we'll give a little bit of a light scoring here just so you can kind of tell that there's some texture to it. That way when you apply paint to it later, some of the paint will stay in here, but you'll also have the little bits of texture that'll come out. So when you do dry brushing on top of it, it'll really make it pop. So this is the wing now. Lots of feathers, kind of getting a little detail in there. And the big trick to this is you don't have to do a whole lot of real detail in it, because as long as you do a little bit, you're basically just trying to merge the centerpiece into these wings. And that's, you know, essentially accomplished at this point here.